welcome to Artistic Adventures. Today we're talking thrift store haul and what to look for in doll-related items. So I thought after, yesterday's disaster with the porcelain doll, I would like to talk about some of the good things about thrift stores. And this video is about what I look for when I go into a thrift store, and also some of the things that I found yesterday that I thought were good deals or good finds. First of all, I do only shop at thrift stores that benefit some worthy cause. Around here there's a hospice thrift store, there's the SPCA thrift store, and there is a Habitat for Humanity store, and I think there's a Catholic, one of the Catholic churches has a thrift store. Don't shop at thrift stores that are just run by, generic individuals hoping to make money, because I like to give my money to good causes, so I feel like I should support the thrift stores that do that. So that being said, I have to say in this area, the Habitat for Humanity thrift store is my favorite. I do like the SPCA one where I bought the porcelain doll just because it benefits animals, not because it's the greatest thrift store, but I am a little put off with them right now. Maybe I'll get over it, I don't know. But anyway, so one of the things I always look for are miniatures, and that's because I'm trying to build up some props that I can use when I photograph my dolls. And I think I showed you in the last video that I talked about thrift stores, the little tea set that I found, and that's going to be, something cute that I can use. And I want to build like a little side table and a chair and things like that. So yesterday I found these cute little poodles, which I think would be a great prop for sitting beside of, a table with one of my dolls. And I'm really thinking specifically about this beautiful fashion royalty doll that I purchased some time back. And what I want to do is make her a Chanel suit, because I love Chanel. She's my idol. And also I think Chanel just seems to look like this elegant little doll. So I sort of picture this doll in a Chanel suit at a little side table, sitting in a chair, and these poodles are at her feet. So that was one of the reasons that I purchased these. So I always check out the miniature section for props and things that might be useful in the doll making process. I also, I think I've told you this before, I really like to look at scarves, because scarves can have some really pretty designs. And here's an example of, hold on, let me turn on my other light. Okay, here's an example of something that you wouldn't find in a cloth store probably. This really pretty sheer fabric that could go over another piece of fabric that you had, in a dress, and it has this beautiful scalloped hem that's already hemmed, which, I don't like doing those little hems. So I look for things like that. A scarf is seen as sort of negligible in the sense that they're priced very cheaply. You can get them for 50 cents, $1, maybe something larger, $2. But you can get things that are made out of silk and things that have interesting trim. Here's another one that I thought was a great trim. It's made, this is another sheer fabric, obvious to most scarves, but look at the beautiful, this is sort of a cotton crochet design in there, and then it has these little rhinestones on it. So that's another thing that I feel is a really good find. And also, talking about things you can use, you can also use doilies. Now, I don't crochet or knit, so I look for these because you can use them in a variety of ways. First of all, they usually have a centerpiece like this, and what you can do is cut it out and run a gathering thread around the outer edge and pull that in to make a little hat or like a little beanie or beret. And then it has, the nice design that culminates in the top and looks like it was made that way or crocheted that way. So that's one thing you can use. And then also this piece is one that I'm using for a doll. Actually, pardon me while I grab things, but I'm trying to do this a little differently. I'm actually using the audio as I film it instead of doing the audio over because of my hand. You can see I'm still pretty wrapped up, and editing is a little difficult. So I have this Blythe doll that I was wanting to make a dress for. So what I did is I started using some of the parts of this doily, and I made her a hat. I cut out a round circle out of this background material of the doily, did the gathering stitch, and then I cut the edge off this pretty scalloped part and sewed it to the edge that I had gathered, and so it made this cute little cap. So, you know, that's one way to use these doilies. Another way was I cut out fabric. This is just a cotton little print fabric, and I put it down on top of this fabric, sewed around the edges, then cut it out, and then I was able to make this bodice that has the cotton lining. And I'm still process of working on this, of course. It's not finished. I've got to do something with the sleeves. I did use some satin ribbon to go around and finish the neckline. And I'm going to do some things to the skirt, add a ribbon waist and things like that. And I'll show you the finished product a little later on. But another thing that I look for in scarves is something, you know, that's sheer, that's knitted, or it's woven, but it's not really knitted. So this is kind of a nice thing, and what I want to do is make a scarf that will wrap around her neck with this dress. So that's the kind of thing that you can use these type of scarves for. So I always look for scarves, and I look for doilies. This one was pretty large, and I'm getting a lot of stuff out of it. Lots of different designs. Just make sure when you cut these out that you have it big enough, because once you gather it, you're going to make it quite a bit smaller. So you want to make sure you have a big enough circumference that when you gather it, it'll still, you know, fit on top of the hat. I actually cut this one too small. It was going to be too small once I gathered it, so I actually went back and did this hat. Okay, so that's the story on doilies, and I think they can be very, very helpful. So some other things I bought yesterday that I thought were great. I bought this grab bag of fabric. Let's see if I can go back any further. There we go. I bought this grab bag of fabric, and you know, I could see enough to know that it had fabric that would be expensive to buy. It had this gold lame, and it had this pretty gold glittery fabric. And you don't need much to make doll clothes, so the fabric in here is perfect for me. And I got this whole bag for like $2. There's some pretty red taffeta. Here's some organza in a really nice bronze color. And you know, I really like dolls in sort of fantasy costumes a lot of times, so I look for these glittery fabrics that can be used in that sort of gown. Look at this nice little pretty purple star design on there. And here's some pink material that I could use, pink satin, that I could definitely use for bodice or even a skirt, and then even put some more lacy stuff over it. And then here's some red satin to go along with the red taffeta. And they also put in here a piece, it looks like a bridal gown, a bride's dress, which has beautiful appliques. Wow, look at that. Definitely could use this in a bridal gown. I actually bought a bridal gown, not on this trip, but recently I bought a bridal gown there, and I paid $10 for the entire gown, and it's gorgeous material. It's similar to this. It's a satin with beautiful lace applique. It has a full train. You know, I can make probably hundreds of wedding dresses, and for $10, you can't beat that. Here's some organza, some black material. I always am using black material. And then here's some pretty sparkly pink material, and a couple little pieces of blue. This is probably the smallest thing in there, and you know, it could make a bodice and then have a, you know, a skirt of a different color. So these little grab bags that they do are really great, and got a lot of fabric. You know, there's possibly, oh, there's another little piece in there I didn't see. Oh, look, It's got a little horse running on it. That's cute. And, you know, I'm going to be able to make, what, maybe 5 or 6 different dresses out of that. So, you know, really like those little grab bags. Now, some other type of fabric I look for are anything that looks, you know, sort of sheer and shiny, because costumes tend to be that type of material. And, you know, you get it. This is probably at least a yard. I can tell it's pretty thick. I got it for $1.50. Then this pretty red material. That's another pretty thick piece. And then this piece was unrolled, but it was 75 cents, and it's a beautiful gold with little sparkly dots on it that, you know, definitely will be wonderful for a dress. And then another thing that I like to find is fabric like this. These fabrics are expensive. Anything like, you know, the bridal fabric, these fake leathers, anything like this can be very expensive at a fabric shop. So if you can find small pieces, and this one is actually pretty large too, you know, that you can use making shoes, boots, purses, maybe even some sorts of costumes where you would want to have like leather pants or leather top or vest, or, you know, even like steampunk corsets. This is a great find, and, you know, always look for that. And you don't always find it in fabric sections. Sometimes I'll find it in curtains. Curtains can have some interesting fabric and designs too. A lot of the brocades that I use, I get from the curtain section at thrift stores, where you can get a whole curtain, which can be a panel of, you know, 6 feet or 5 feet for, you know, $1 or $2, and that's way cheaper than you'll get it at the fabric store. I also look in the toy section. I usually can find something interesting, although I'm not always sure how I'll use it. Although I did get this, get a load of this. This is Regina, the Evil Queen pop figure, and she's actually wearing the dress, the same one that I did in the video, the one with the feather collar. I had to have it. I don't know what I'm gonna do with it, but I love it, and she's so funny. Okay, so we got Regina, and then on this trip, I found these miniature Barbies that I guess they were used in old McDonald's Happy Meals commercial, but I'm not exactly sure what I'm going to do with them, but what I'd like to try is making them a little bit better costume, and maybe even doing a little bit better hair, because most of these, you know, have hair that's pretty crazy. So, you know, just things like this, this is a couple of bucks for some things that I can play with and work on, and maybe share some ideas with you on things that you could do with these little dolls that you might even have laying around the house if you have children. You know, who knows? I also look in sections if they have any sewing materials, because a lot of times you can find trim. Look at that. Great piece of trim I got for 50 cents. And this would be way more expensive than that at, you know, at a regular fabric store. So I found that. And then back to toys, I found this Ken doll for 50 cents. And I donated. Oh, this was from, I think, a previous haul that I made. But anyway, I may have even showed you this. But anyway, he was 50 cents, and he is an example of, you know, looking in toy sections. I do look in doll sections, although around here, I typically only find old Barbies. There's not a lot of ball-jointed dolls like Monster High or Bratz or anything like that. I guess they're already scooped up, or people just don't get rid of them. Certainly don't find anything like Fashion Royalty or Silkstone or anything like that. Just lots of old Barbies, and I'm not really interested in them. Really like the movable joints. Although this guy, because he was a boy doll and only 50 cents, I decided to go ahead and get him. And I might turn him into a knight, because if you remember on a previous haul, I got this wire mesh that I think would look great as chainmail, so I could use this as sleeves maybe and on his legs. I don't know if it's big enough for his legs, but those are the kinds of things that I think about when I'm shopping, and look for just cheap inexpensive things that I can stockpile, and then when I'm ready to use them, I have them. And certainly less expensive than going to Joann's and spending a lot of money there. I already have a lot of lace, as I told you, from my friend Deborah, who sends me her small lace that she doesn't use in her outfits, and so I don't really need much lace. Anyway, that's my haul for this video, and some ideas on things that you can use from thrift stores to make dolls or make interesting projects. And the next video that I'm going to be doing, I'm going to go back in time and pull out some of my older dolls and give you guys a tour of some of the older dolls that I made some time ago, and you can see the improvement or not, and look at some of the designs of their costumes. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed it. Please give me a thumbs up if you did. And even though I'm still recuperating with my left hand, I'm a little bit limited. I still will be making some videos that I think you'll find interesting and fun. So, as usual, I hope you will subscribe so you won't miss a thing. Thanks, and bye.